Longer life. I am Precious Chukudi. And of course, it's the start of the week. Thanks to our Muslim brothers and sisters, there was like a holiday yesterday for, for workers. And we would like to say, like, this is like Monday, that kind of thing. But then it's Tuesday morning. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning. Let's start off with the front pages of the papers. And we'll be starting off with Vanguard. Vanguard is leading with same fate tickets, Dogara, ex SGF, others are impostors. That's coming from APC. The writer says Dogara officially no longer a member of APC. Buhari inaugurates women campaign. Team says no alternative to APC. Why Tinubu dropped Dogara Lawal as running mate. That's coming from the APC. And also, they agreed adds greedy NWC members fueling conflicts between Tinubu and Adamu. APC is new hope, says Adamu. PDP party of termites. That's what Tinubu is saying. Tinubu Shetima presidency best option for women. That's coming from Remi Tinubu. Tinubu has no health challenge. That's coming from Namani. We can see a photo story just showing the PDP flags of campaign. PDP will rebuild Nigeria. Atiku vows at campaign flag off. NECA rejects proposed hike in excise duty. Governor Bello Dangote meet in Aso Rock. Oil theft. Tompolo's men arrest captain. 7 others recover stolen crude oil. You can see that on page 7. Stories above. On Health Weekly, why more Nigerians will come down with mental disorder. We are hopeful strike will end in a few days, says ASUU. You can see that on page 8. Omehia, Wike Rivers Assembly engaging in self-mockery. That's coming from activists. You can see that on page 12. Well, the big interview, what we are doing to increase housing stock in Nigeria. That's coming from Haman, FMB and MD. You can read more on that story on page 14. On page 19, flooding will worsen food insecurity, inflation in Nigeria, IMF warns. Gunmen killed 2 policemen in Imo. Afenifere Akeredolu Bika over Obi's endorsements. You can see that on page 10. On page 56, debt. Abuja discos disconnect Niger Government House, Assembly, General Hospital, others. Alright, let's take a look at the Punch newspaper. The Punch is leading with Atiku's campaign. PDP governors hit Uyo with 15 private jets. Wow. The writer says Wike Autumn, Makinde, 2 others absent as party begins 2023 electioneering. Obaseki holds South-South stakeholders meeting in Uyo. Diri Udom pledge support. Ayu appeals to aggrieved governor, says party needs everyone to rescue Nigeria. On pages 4 and 5, family loses only child, blame short-staffed Ondo Hospital. Amosun backs ADC candidates. APC says ex-governor treacherous. You can see that on page 8. We can also see stories above on the Punch newspaper. Keridolu Ishako, Adebutu, Bayero, Atuwashe, Olanipekun, others get national honor. On page 9, work for Tinubu's victory. Buhari tells the APC women. On page 11, assembly fire. Government alleges sabotage. Dangote threatens lawsuits. Lastly, on the front page of the Punch newspaper, we have a boat accident claims 701 lives in 34 months. Wow. Alright, let's take a look at the Nation newspaper. The Nation is leading with PDP is party of termites. Can't return to power, says Tinubu. We can also see the writer saying Buhari list winning strategies at Tinubu Shetima women team inauguration. Stories above. APC accuses Dogara of using religion to cause disaffection. Buhari to confer infrastructure awards on Wike October 21. Fire raises Kogi House of Assembly complex. INEC, political parties can't substitute candidates again. ASUU strike to end in days, says Bajabiamila Falano. Or Shodeke, there's light at the end of the tunnel. You can see that story on page 5. Wike allies absent as Atiku campaign kicks off. Alright, let's take a look at the Guardian newspaper. The Guardian is leading with budget deficit. Operators fume as the federal government borrowing undermines real sector. Rider says a borrowing plan will aggravate economic woes. Expert warns. Stakeholders skeptical on manufacturing sector growth prospect. Operators urge federal government to channel funds to productive activity. 9 months after ASUU discovers light at the end of strike tunnel. Why does it say line? Sounds very funny though. Obi's endorsement. You can't speak to us. You can't speak for us, rather. Yoruba Afenifere tells Keridolu. Rivers ex-deputy speaker slam Wike over Executive Order 21. CDSAC denies the Boko Haram prisoners swap for release of 23 train attack victims. Stories above. Suspected headsmen kill 10 injuries caused in Nasarawa. You can see that on page 9. And lastly, on the front page of The Guardian, we have Buhari absent as APC begs women to back Tinubu Shetima ticket. And that's what we can take this morning on the front pages of the papers. Join us after the break. We'll be right back. Alright, welcome back. If you're just joining us, still today in the news on Vanguard Life, I am Precious Tripodi. Joining me to talk about some of the stories on the front pages of our papers this morning is Mr. Dayo Akintobi, the publisher of Liquidity Today, Ikeja Today, and also Lekki Today. Good morning, sir. Good to have you joining me this morning.
Good morning, Precious. Good morning to all our viewers.
Yes, it's good to have you joining me this
morning.
Thank you. Alright, let's start off. And obviously, well, starting off with this same free ticket is like it's been going back and forth. And but then again, there's a part of the story where the APC presidential candidate Bola Tinubu described former speaker Yakubu Dogara and ex-SGF Babachelawa and the group that they represent as a band of impostors. What do you think about this now? Because we're hearing, different stories.
Well, ostensibly, the way things work is that within the same party, irrespective of what your grievances are, you are expected to support the tickets of the people your party are backing for power. So this kind of seems like a betrayal that Dogara and Babachelawa, who are in the APC, will turn around and be speaking negatively about their presidential ticket to the point that they are even saying they won't support that ticket. They made an announcement yesterday that they will choose a consensus candidate from among the other candidates. Their grievance simply is the issue of the fact that there's this Muslim ticket. Dogara, as you know, and Babachelawa, they're Northern Christians, and they believe that one of them or some other person should have been on the ticket with a Muslim presidential aspirant or contestant. That to put two Muslims together on the same ticket in a diverse country where we're almost evenly balanced Christians and Muslims, that it's not right. And they've been standing on that for quite a while. Well, two things. The party has not expelled them yet, but the party can say they have been doing anti-party activities, because once you're a member of a particular party, you have to subscribe to the tenets of that party and be loyal to that party. So you can't still be within that party and start speaking up against the party. That's anti-party activities, and that's a basis for them to either be suspended or expelled completely from the party. The other noble thing to do is that if you are in a party and you don't agree with any steps they have taken, you should resign honorably. It's not, yes, it's true. It doesn't pass the smell test for them to still be within the APC and be complaining about what the APC has done. If they are aggrieved to the point of saying they are going to support somebody outside their own party for the presidency, then the honorable thing to do will be to resign. They can't be within and still continue to try to undermine the position of their presidential flag bearer. Now, the issue of what they are fighting for, how morally upright is it? Is their position correct? Are they fighting a just fight? Well, I say at the end of the day, it's up to the Nigerian electorate to judge. If there are enough people who are opposed to this notion of a Muslim ticket, it will show at the ballot box. If enough people think it is wrong. So I've always said, each political party and each political contest will do its permutations and its calculations, roll the dice and take a risk. So we will know on election day whether Nigerians generally are in favor of a same-faith ticket or if they are against it, because they will vote their conscience at the ballot box on that day.
Now, according to the APC, they're saying that Dogara has already left the party, and he left because he couldn't get, the VP slot, and that's why he's trying to, bring another, some, northern Christian leaders together and, speak against the party. But then again, what do you think about this situation? Because it seems like there's a lot of grievances going on in the party.
Well, he's not been expelled, but without a doubt, his beef is that he wasn't one of those chosen for the vice presidential slot. Because as you well know, once we got a southern Muslim as presidential flag bearer, the standard way of balancing the ticket is picking the exact opposite, both in terms of ethnicity and religion. And the direct counterpart to a southern Muslim is a northern Christian. Now, in the APC, there are very few northern Christians, first of all, that are politicians, and then that are in the APC. Well, Yakubu Dogara is one of them. And of course, he was interested in pursuing or getting the running mate ticket, and he didn't get it. So he's aggrieved on that account. So it's possible that it's his personal interest that is motivating his opposition to the Muslim ticket. We don't know. It could be his personal interest based on the fact that he wasn't chosen. Then again, it could also be the fact that he really thinks it's unfair, as Nigeria's diversity does not really play to such an agglomeration of the same faith within the same ticket. So, as I said, it's the Nigerian people at the end of the day who will decide. I think that Dogara and his people, while they might be right to point it out, they shouldn't be taking Panadol for the Nigerian electorate's headache. They've pointed out an issue. Then, if anything at all, on the day of the election, we'll find out how the Nigerian people feel about it generally. If they feel that strongly about it, what they should be doing is sensitizing the populace to the negatives or to the unfairness or the inequity of a same-faith ticket. That's where they should put their energies, and not to be working against their party while they're still in that party.
All right, so according to some source in the party now, they are saying that the reason why Babache Lawa and also Yakubu Dogara, the reason why none of them was picked was because the reason why Bolatin refused to pick them was because of they don't have political influence and political values in their respective states. Do you think that might be a reason why these people weren't picked? Without
a doubt, it has to play a role, because Yakubu Dogara, what is his claim to fame? I mean, what is his range of influence? You pick a running mate who will strengthen your ticket. You pick a running mate who has clout, maybe in the areas that you don't, the areas where you are weak, as the primary, as the presidential or the front runner or the main party ticket holder. The area where you are weak, you pick a running mate who can strengthen you in those areas. So they probably looked at all the possibilities. I'm sure they looked at Dogara, they looked at Babache Lawal, they looked at Wike, Wike is in PDP. They looked at all the possibilities that could present a formidable running mate to make the ticket stronger. And at the end of the day, after doing all the calculations, they concluded that Dogara and Babache Lawal have very little electoral value to strengthen the ticket. So if you give it to them, you've just essentially squandered the opportunity to strengthen your ticket. So they do the permutations and the calculations. And for the APC presidential candidate to have picked another Muslim in the person of Shetima, former governor of Borno State, he has done the calculation and recognized the fact that this man will strengthen my ticket. He will bring me votes in areas where I can't get votes myself. He has wide-ranging influence. He's highly regarded. Perhaps he has a good track record from when he was governor. I mean, if you look at it, what can you really point to Dogara? What can you really say you remember? Okay, by happenstance, he became Speaker of the House for one term, 4 years. But what signature legislation or what ground-shaking development to Nigeria's polity can you associate with Dogara's term in as the Speaker of the House of Representatives. His tenure is a forgettable experience. We can't hold on to anything and say, this is what we knew Dogara achieved during his term. So what is his real electoral value to the ticket? The powers that be did the permutations and recognized the fact that he can't help the ticket in any way, so that's why he wasn't picked.
Right, but then in the party, if we still have like maybe some factions who still are against this Muslim ticket, do you think that anything can still be done at this time?
Well, I'll tell you the truth. It's not only Dogara and Babachir Lawal who are against the same faith ticket. Word is even Dr. Chris Ngige is against it as well, that he himself has said he's not going to support the ticket of his own party. Of course, he can't speak it out too loudly because he's a minister serving in the current administration. That could earn him the sack. But he was on a TV program a couple of days ago and they asked him pointedly, are you going to support the presidential ticket of your party? And he refused to answer. He said, I have one vote and it's a secret ballot. I'm not going to tell you how I'm going to vote. But he has been known to say publicly the fact that, because he's caught between ethnicity and the issue of religion, because his immediate successor in office is Peter Obi, who was the one who took over the reins of power from him. He's his kinsman. So, of course, there's got to be an affinity in that direction. Then, of course, there's the issue that he's a Christian. And he probably also believes that power rotation as practiced before, the thing should rotate to the south, and not just rotate to the south, but rotate to the southeast. So he's caught between these two conflicting emotions. And at the end of the day, it looks like he himself is not supporting the same faith ticket. Rumor has it that the vice president is not supporting it either. And if we look at some of the things, vice president was not on the presidential campaign council. His wife was not there yesterday when they inaugurated the women of APC campaign council. So the body language looks like the VP is not supporting it either. So what it means is that it is a real and pressing concern to many people, the issue of same-faith ticket in a diverse country where for our unity there should be equity and justice in terms of how positions are shared, how admissions are given in university, how contracts are given out. There should be a balance in which there's a sense of inclusiveness for all the ethnicities across the country.
All right, so let's move ahead and talk about the PDP. They officially kicked off their campaign yesterday, but then it was obvious. We noticed that some of the agreed governors were not there, like Sheyi Makinde, Wike, obviously, and Governor Kezi. You know, he wasn't present, you know. But it also seems like the party has decided to just move ahead and then just leave their problems. And what do you think about it? Is this not going to affect them in the coming elections?
You can't blame the PDP because at the end of the day, how long are they going to be held ransom by some people who have grievances that have been, they've tried to resolve these grievances. Just last week, the BOT went to visit Wike in Port Harcourt. There have been meetings in London, in Abuja. People have put out an olive branch and attempted to resolve this crisis, and it's proven to be intractable. So how long does the PDP want to wait? Remember, ever since the PDP primary, this crisis has put them way back because they've been so quiet trying to resolve this crisis that they've not been able to have any public activity whatsoever. Meanwhile, APC is in the news every day, if not about their presidential candidate's health, it's about he disappeared to London, where is he? Their issue, APC is in the news every day, rally upon walk, Million Man March, Million Women March. They are in the news every day. Likewise, the obedience and making sure that the Labour Party and Peter Obi are in the news every day. But PDP has been completely silent and as if they've been subsumed in the process because this crisis has not allowed them to gain enough stability to even begin to reach out to the public since they completed their primary. Granted, INEC just blew the starting whistle a few days ago. But in spite of that, the two other parties are way ahead of PDP in terms of public sensitization. So you look at it and PDP says, how much longer can we afford to wait while we're trying to resolve this issue? And both sides are dug deep in what they believe and they're not shifting ground. So PDP decided it's time to move on. Their chairman said at the launch yesterday that the train has left the station, but is willing to stop to pick up anybody who wants to join. So he's left the door open that even though we've gone ahead without you, we will still welcome you into the fold, because truth be told, not having those 5 governors and their states in the fold of those promoting a PDP presidency, not having those, it will have an impact. That is the truth. First of all, you are in the opposition. So you're already at a disadvantage from the incumbent government. You are in the opposition. You are not in power. You are seeking to wrest power away. When you are in that situation, you need more people, not less. So that's already a challenge for them. Then secondly, those governors have major influence in their states, in their local councils, in their wards, to where they are the rallying point that mobilize the grassroots, that organize how the masses will come out and vote. So you really can't afford to push them by the wayside and think that you will be able to mount a relatively strong campaign. Nonetheless, the outing yesterday, there was a large crowd. All the party leaders were there. I noticed, though, that none of the 2 previous PDP presidents attended. I don't know if that speaks volumes as to how the state of the party is, because President Goodluck wasn't there, President Obasanjo wasn't there either. I would have expected that those kind of big wigs, even though President Obasanjo said he's retired from active politics and he tore up his PDP card, he's never joined another political party after that. And the truth of the matter is he was president as a PDP member. So the fact that those 2 didn't attend, I think took a bit away a bit of the shine. When you add that to the fact that the 5 governors weren't there, then it started to look like there was a vacuum. But nonetheless, they put on a good show. They had a previous chairman of the party, former Senate presidents, governors. Another issue for PDP is, out of 36 states, I think we only have 13 or so governors. So if you remove 5 of them, how many are left? Yeah. So I believe they will still reach out to these governors. They will still. Wike has said he's not leaving the PDP. He said we'll fight for justice within the party. So I believe, by and large, as the days go on, they will still continue to talk and hopefully reach some sort of a resolution.
All right. Obviously, we're in the campaign seasons, and there are different manifestos that will be popping here and there, and also presidential candidates, holding like promises to Nigerians and all of that. But then, how can Nigerians, differentiate, presidential candidates who have agendas from people who have great intention for the country?
I, for one, don't believe in manifestos, because manifestos are generally commissioned. You just pick up the phone, call a professor in one of the universities, tell him, okay, these are the things I want to present to the people of Nigeria, and the professor will package a nice report for you that you put forward as your manifesto. It doesn't mean anything. So when you hear them on the campaign trail and at the inaugurations of their campaign saying, I'll fix security, I heard all of it yesterday. It sounds exactly the same thing we've been hearing since 1999. Nobody's offering anything different that I've heard. All I know is, okay, we'll fix security, we'll fix the economy, we'll fix roads. Same things they've always said all along. We'll fight corruption. But when they get there, do they actually do these things, and do they achieve all those things they promise us? What I think needs to be done is beyond feel-good, fancy rhetoric that they throw out. I think the Nigerian people need to interrogate them more closely. What I mean by that is that when they say they're going to do this, we should ask them, how are you going to achieve? Look, for example, Nigeria has financial problems. The country has no money. So if somebody is coming to you and saying, I'm going to fix the economy, I'm going to create jobs, I'm going to make your life better, I'm going to reduce the price of petrol, how are you going to do it? Where are you going to get the money? How are you going to do it? Look at ASUU now. The President Buhari has promised them 470 billion. It's going to be next year's budget. That's going to be an issue that the incoming government will have to deal with. Likewise, the issue of subsidy. They've said they will push the date to December of next year so that it doesn't destabilize the new government. But come December, that government has to deal with the issue of removing the subsidy and all the attendant aggravation that's going to come from the public, from the Labour Congress and all that. So bottom line is, and I think we should, the media, we should charge ourselves with this responsibility, that we need to interrogate these people through town hall meetings, through debates. We shouldn't just take the things they throw out as gospel, because it's been proven that they just say these things and they don't follow up. So we should interrogate the content of their minds. We can't look at their faces and hear their words and not believe they're empty. But when we put their feet to the fire and question them intently. And only the media can do that. How much opportunity does the electorate at a rally have to ask questions of a candidate and to counteract some of the things he's saying, to criticize, to punch holes in his postulations? We don't really get that opportunity. But the media has that platform with which to begin to interrogate these candidates. And I think the media should do a greater job of dealing with this situation so that the Nigerian electorate can go into the ballot and make an informed decision.
All right, let's just quickly touch on this one before we go, and it's about ASUU. So, President Vows is telling us that there is light at the end of the tunnel. I remember when I think sometimes yesterday or someone was saying, why is the light always at the end of the tunnel? Why is it not at the entrance?
Well, yeah, that's a figure of speech. It's a metaphor that simply indicates that there's been some progress and there is hope. When there's light at the end of the tunnel, there's hope. There's better hope today than there was last week. And part of the reason I believe is that I think that the appellate court ruling, I think it kind of put ASUU under pressure. I also think the fact that the government registered 2 sub-unions also put ASUU under pressure and made them have to soften their position a little bit. In addition, the government too has made some concessions. I mean, they started out offering 100 and something billion for this revitalization fund and for salaries and all that. Now they've increased it to 470 billion. So government has made some concessions, but government has also brought out the big hammer and got this decision in their favor. ASUU will not be seen to be disobeying a court order. So they had no choice but to go back to the negotiating table and try and come out with an acceptable deal. Now, luckily for them, Femi Gbajabiamila, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, stepped in and played mediator. So the kudos go to him. ASUU is able to hide under that umbrella to save face that, well, Femi as a mediator has managed to resolve the lingering issues. We will know later today because they said the last one thing remaining to be resolved is no work, no pay. And that President Buhari has said he will let them know today what his decision, because he's the only one who can adjudicate on that, whether they get paid for the 8 months that they've not been working. I won't be surprised to see something like an offer of, we'll pay you for half of the period you were off, and ASUU will probably accept it. Yeah, I think if they get that much, that's fair enough to send them back to the classroom with at least they can claim a victory in that day. Because some of the things they were fighting for, they've got some of them. They didn't get all, but likewise the government too didn't get all. And that's what engagement is all about. It's about give and take. It can't be a winner gets all situation. There has to be some give and some take from both sides. And I mean, for example, this IPC issue about they don't want to be on IPC. The government has conceded that the areas of the IPC payment platform that ASUU is uncomfortable with, which made them go and do their own TCAS, that they will adjust IPC and harmonize it with TCAS to where those areas that ASUU is worried about in IPC will no longer be an issue because they've now amended it to meet the criteria of the TCAS. So that's a concession from the government. That's a big concession. And I think ASUU would do well to accept the olive branch the government is putting out, and let's put this thing behind us and let our poor students go back to school after all this time.
The reports are really damaging.
Yes, indeed they are.
All right, let's take a look at Misa and Mrs. Misa is speaking. Says, I will fulfill all the promises I have made, but you have to continue to support me. You're my battery. Without you, I can't function. And then Mrs. says, then why did you refuse to charge the battery?
Mr. I started to sound like a politician, to tell you the truth.
Yeah,
maybe he's running for office himself. All right, all the best to them.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Daya Akintomi, publisher of the pages today, Keja today, and also Lekitini. Thank you for sharing your thought with us this morning.
Always
also,
a pleasure.
Remember that you can like, share, and subscribe on all our social media platforms showing on your screen. You can go to our Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Also, our WhatsApp number is displayed on your screen. And find out more of our top stories, you can go to our website, www.vanguardngl.com, to find out more. I am Precious Tripoli, and thank you for watching.